This video is about factorising quadratics where the coefficient of x squared is not 1. So what I mean is by that, if it's something like this, 2x squared minus 6x plus 2, it's this coefficient at the front. This is a not 1, so it's 2, 3, 4, it's more than 1 basically. So before I've looked at x squared minus 9x plus 14, something like this, and it's about finding factors of 14 that add to make minus 9. So for this example, put your brackets in, and 2 factors of 14 that make minus 9 and minus 2 and minus 7. And then this one here, it's 2 factors of minus 6 that also add to make 5. So you've got your x, so your 2 brackets, x, and that's minus 1 and plus 6, because they multiply to make minus 6. Now, what we're looking at though is when the coefficient of x is not 1, so it's 2. Now, or 2 in this example. So I've got some steps again, they're a little bit chunky, but it's a lot to go through. So I'll try and do it bit by bit, slowly, so you can follow and understand it, hopefully. So we've got here 2x squared plus 9x plus 10. Now, first thing to do, we want to make sure it is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So how you normally see a quadratic, really. So make sure it's rearranged in this form. It all makes sense, the reason why, as we go through. So first step here is multiply the a and c together and find the factors, including negative. So a bit chunky. And what that means is when we say a and c, we mean this 2 and positive 10. So we're multiplying those together. So 2 times 10 is 20. So it's a positive 20, okay? Now, so that's the first thing. And then find the factors including negatives. Now, a little hint here. If that is also positive, you don't need to find negative factors. So if that is positive, you don't need negative factors. So what we're going to do here, we're going to look for all the factors. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3, 4 and 5, and that's it really. They're the pairs. So once you've done that, what you want to do is look for a pair that add to make the middle term. So, well, the middle term. So for that example, for this, it's the 9 here. So obvious one is 4 and 5, make the middle term. So once you've done that, you want to rewrite the quadratic with factors replacing plus b. So what that means is we're going to rewrite this question here, and instead of having 9 in the middle, or plus b, we're going to have the factors replacing it. So what that rewritten quadratic would look like is 2x plus, 2x squared plus 4x plus 5x, and then plus 10. Now, it doesn't actually matter which way around these two factors go, as long as you've got the correct sign, so positive and negative, because it all comes together at the end. Okay, so once you've done this, you've rewritten your question, you're going to factorise, because we are factorising each half of your equation. So this is number 5 there, factorise each half of your equation. So if we go back here, we're going to factorise each half. What I mean by that is 1 half, I'm going to factorise that. So 2x squared plus 4x, common factor there is 2x. So put it there, and in the brackets, I'll have x plus 2. And then second half, we're going to factorise that. So that's second half here. So common between positive 5x and 10 is 5. So positive 5. And in the brackets, I'll have x plus 2. Now, this point, to make sure you've done it right, you want your bracket to be the same. So that's x plus 2, that's x plus 2, means we've done this right. So once you've done that, final part, so the final bit, because you want it in double brackets at the end, one bracket is a term outside the brackets. The other bracket is the other bracket. And what I mean by that is the terms outside, so the 2x plus 5, that goes in its own bracket at the end, 2x plus 5. And then the other bracket is the other bracket. So this x plus 2 is just your other bracket at the end. And that's what your answer will look like. So I'll do a second example, because I think this takes a little longer to understand than when the coefficient is 1. So start off again, it's in the correct form. I'll just talk through the steps, I won't keep going back to the list. So first thing is you multiply this 4 with a positive 6, so you do that and you get positive 24. Now we want to find the factors of this, including negative. We want negative because that's negative this time, okay? And a little hint, if the answer is positive, that means both factors have to be negative. So we start -1, minus 24, -2, minus 12, -3, minus 8, minus 4, minus 6. And we want a pair here that add to make our b, which is -11. So hopefully you can see -3 and -8 make that -11. So what we'll do is we'll rewrite now our quadratic with -3x and -8x, replacing -11. So I'm going to write that here. So I got 4x squared. Now minus 3x. Now minus 8x. And then plus 6 on the end. So how's that step? Now we've done that, we're going to factorize each side or each half of your equation. So we're going to factorize this part first. So we've got 4x squared minus 3x. Common between both of those is x. You've got to remember, x can be a factor. So we've got that. Draw some brackets to fill the rest out. So this here will be 4x, and then in this bracket is going to be -3. So then we factorize the second side of our equation here. So we've got that part there. Common between -8x, so the negative is important, and the positive 6 is actually 2 if you want to look at a number, but think we need it to be -2, because that is common. So then if we check this, -2 has to be multiplied by 4x to make it -8 there. And then this side of the bracket is going to be -3, because -2 times -3 is +6. And then to get our final bit, our actual answer, that means one bracket is x minus 2. So x minus 2. And then the second bracket is 4x minus 3. X minus 3. And that's the answer to that. Now I've got 3 for you to give a go on the next page. So you might want to get the steps down or example before you give them a go. But as I always suggest, do pause and then give it a go before I go through them all. Alright, so I'll do these answers. I'll go through them relatively quick compared to the other ones, to the other examples we did. So first one here, I do 6 times 5. So I'll move this over here actually to see better. 6 times 5, which is 30. 2 factors of 30 that actually add to 13 are going to be 10 and 3. So I'll write this out. 5x squared plus 10x plus 3x plus 6. So now I factorise each side individually. So factorise that. So I've got 5x plus, 5x bracket x plus 2. And then the other side here is going to be plus 3 on the outside, x plus 2. So that means factorise this will be 5x, so that part there, plus 3. And then the other bracket is just the other bracket, so x plus 2. All right, if we look at this next one along here, so multiply those two values together, so 6 and 2 gives us 12. So we're looking for negative numbers that add to make -7 and are factors of 12, so -4 and -3. So we then rewrite this, so we got 6x squared minus 4x minus 3x plus 2, and then we're factorising each half of this individually. So 6x squared minus 4x factorised common is going to be 2x, and then on the inside here we're going to have 3x this side, and then the other side is going to be -2, and then we factorise the second part of this. Okay, common in these is a bit harder to find because of how it's laid out, but it's actually -1. That is common there, and then that will leave me with positive 3x and -2. So the first bracket is 2x minus 1, and then second bracket is 3x minus 2. All right, and then final example here. So what we got going on, again, we got 2 times 6, or 6 times 2, which is 12. 2 factors to make that, quite nice, 12 and 1. So I've got 6x squared plus 12x plus 1x plus 2. So factorise each side. So factorise that. I've got 6x bracket x plus 2. And the other side, might not think there's a factor, but it's just going to be 1. So plus 1, and in the bracket x plus 2. And then my first part of the answer is just going to be 6x plus 1 in a bracket. And the second part of the answer is x plus 2.